And so up first, we're going to be hearing from Monica. In her book, Overcoming the Impossible, A Life of Trials and Triumphs, Monica Gartner discusses her daily physical and hidden emotional challenges and how her faith has pushed her to overcome the impossible. Welcome, Monica. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Well, Monica, today on our show, we're talking about, can I overcome this? That's the question. And your book is titled Overcoming the Impossible. So let's start by helping our viewers understand what you have overcome. What is your disability and how has it impacted you?
Okay, my disability is called osteogenesis imperfecta. So osteo meaning bone, genesis meaning genetic or imperfecta, and or genesis meaning genetic, and imperfecta meaning not exactly perfect. But then who is? So my bones from the beginning were not perfect. So when I was born, I already had limbs. My legs were already broken in my mother. And because of that and the fragility of my bones, the doctor said I probably wouldn't live to be a year old. Because when a baby breaks a bone in the first year of their life, the baby bleeds internally. So it was deemed I would bleed to death in the first year of my life. Well, clearly I didn't bleed to death. But throughout the years, I fractured many bones. Ribs, arms, legs, shoulders, fingers. You name a bone, I've probably cracked or broken it. And unfortunately, I've also sustained several severe accidents, such as in 1990, I got hit by a car and fractured several bones. And then in 2019, I also got hit by a car and survived. And actually, in my apartment, I fell out of my wheelchair while I was by myself and broke my arm hitting the dining room table on the way down. And fractured 4 bones around my left orbit because my head hit the hardwood floor and fractured my bones. But throughout my life, I've always asked God to help me and give me strength and to sustain my life. And so far, so good.
And you really have overcome the impossible right from a young age at birth, right? So what inspired you to write Overcoming the Impossible? Was there a particular moment or experience that motivated you to share your story?
Well, over the years, when I've overcome things, and even you can overcome also like depression and loneliness, because it's really hard when you break a bone, you're isolated, you have to have surgery. I wasn't able to play with other kids like my peers in the same manner as other kids would. So it can be also very frustrating and challenging emotionally, psychologically. But throughout my life, I've had faith. I was born in a Christian home. And as I was growing up, my father said to me, "Hey, have you ever thought of writing a book?" And I thought, oh, who's going to read the book? And he goes, "Mom, Monica, a lot of people could read the book. Not just people with disabilities, because you show resilience. You persevere, like that Bible verse in Hebrews. Perseverance produces character, which produces hope. And hope is found in Jesus Christ." And so I thought, okay, I'll try and I'll write this book and see what happens. And hopefully it will encourage people not to give up.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love how you said anybody can read this book, right? Because we all have challenges in life. We all have something that we need to overcome at some point in our life. So what have been some of the most difficult challenges for you? And how have you encountered them? When you encounter them, how have you overcome them?
Well, my most recent challenge actually didn't even have to do with my bones. I had pneumonia, and usually I can overcome a pneumonia with medication and so forth under doctor's care. But this last time I had pneumonia, I actually received some sort of other vaccine, and I thought it was, maybe a side effect from the vaccine. But I got worse and worse, and my caregiver noticed I was speaking in one-word sentences, and sometimes I didn't make sense. So I went to the hospital and discovered my oxygen level was 83, and that's or 82, and that's exceedingly low. Normally, people are unconscious by then. So I had a full-blown pneumonia, and while I was in hospital, unfortunately, I received an overdose of medication, and they had to give me a medication to come back because it was too much for the size of me. And both of my lungs, unfortunately, collapsed. And I had to be on a BiPAP machine. And I've never been in a hospital situation where I've had a doctor that was extremely negative. But he was, and he didn't think I was going to survive. Nobody did in the hospital, actually. So I turned to God and I looked out the window and I said, you know, God, if I'm meant to die, then please take away my fear and don't let me suffer in agony. Let me die naturally, but in peace. But if I'm meant to live, dear God, then I need your strength because I can't do this alone. I can't live this life alone. Everyone needs somebody, and I rely on God's strength to carry me through the most challenging times. And I just continued to pray. And then I was able to exercise, and I continued to exercise and pray. And almost 3 months later, I got out of the hospital.
Wow, that's incredible. One of the things that I've so admired about you, Monica, as we've connected, is just how positive you are and how much you are able to look forward even despite your challenges. So, how do you hope your book will impact readers, especially those that may be facing their own challenges?
Yeah, we live in a world right now that's very sad and depressed, and people are very scared. And, you know, it really is true, taking it from me and my little existence. You really can have a big God that can carry you on your shoulders. And not to say that you shouldn't do practical things, you should. But at the same time, God feeds you spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, and that helps you physically as well. And I rely on God because without God, I I can't do it. I just can't make this life alone. And I don't think when we come to the end of our rope, we need to just turn to God and say, I need help. I don't know where to find it. I don't know how to do it, but I need help. And I rely on you to help me get that help. And He can do it. He really can. You just have to trust Him.
So true. Thank you for that encouragement, Monica. I so appreciate that. Well, thank you for writing this book and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
For more information on Monica or her book, you can visit 700club.ca.